There? No? Almost? Okay, there we are. Hi, hey y'all. First comment to the broadcast goes to Mark. Hi, Matt. You're actually third, not second, Reggie. What's up, guys? Welcome to A Moment in Time with Taylor. So good to see you guys. How is the signal? How's the connection? Seems frozen on my phone. It was doing that last time I used StreamYard. Might need to be getting my money back from them if it's causing any problems, so please let me know. It is a pretty cool streaming software, but there's a free version. If it's not going to work well on the paid version, then I'll just use the free version. David, I heard that you, or sorry, not David, Daniel, I heard that you were straight. Austin told me. I'm a savage. Well, I love this sweater. I got this sweater 2 days ago. I'm sweating, so I'm going to take it off, but I wanted to show you because I was saying this yesterday on my 12-hour stream on Twitch. Be savage, not average. I love it. I love it so much. I loved it when I saw it, and I still love it. It's very cozy and very warm. Too warm. I was outside earlier, so it was nice then, but I had to change into shorts when I got home because I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I told them I might wear it and show it to them, so I'm just going to keep wearing it. Now I'm like so sweaty, I couldn't wait to show it to you so I could take it off. I actually think I told Twitch I would wear it, so I have to put it back on for them, but for now, let's just go with this. This is a new shirt that I got too. It's covered in palm trees. Yay. Okay. Thanks, Mark. Hi, Nelson. First comment over on YouTube. Good to see you too. You like the Savage sweater? Thank you. Thanks, Mark. I'm really good, Nelson. How are you doing? There you go. It's in Hizo's nature to be savage, not average. Same, dude. Same. Hey, Sleevemore, what's up? I'm not doing 12 hours tonight. I did 12 hours last night, and then I slept for 9 hours, and I still feel like I need more sleep. Hi, Tia. It's getting hot in here. I took off some of my clothes. All right, let's talk about Big Brother. So yeah, the 12-hour stream last night on Twitch was awesome. We played 6 hours of Fortnite, 6 hours of Among Us, which I'm obsessed with. And tonight, I just found out earlier that there's actually an Among Us creative map in Fortnite. So I'm going to try that out tonight on Twitch. So stay tuned, or not stay tuned, but tune in for that over on Twitch. Same username over there. If you like these Big Brother recaps, there's a playlist on my YouTube channel where they're all saved too. So if you want to watch previous episodes or previous recaps, check that out here on my YouTube channel. Please do subscribe so you don't miss this. I usually do these weekly recaps on Thursday nights right after the eviction. However, I was doing a 12-hour stream last night on a Thursday night, so I'm doing this tonight on Friday. I do not watch the live feed, so I do not know how the HOH competition went today. Sometimes people spoil it in the chat. I would ask that you don't, if you don't mind, since I don't really have any idea what happened at all today, but I can't control you, so it is what it is. Yay! Good, Nelson. I'm so glad. Bradley is here. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Okay. So let's start with let's start with episode 20, which was Sunday's episode last week. So this is right after the vote happened where Danny and Nicole framed David for flipping on Avon and Kevin. So David, Nicole, hang on. Who is it? Who is supposed to vote for Ian and Tyler? Yeah. So yeah, Davon and Kevin weren't on the block. So it was Ian and Tyler on the block. Kevin, Davon, and David all voted to keep Ian and to vote Tyler out. And we're expecting Nicole to do the same so that they could have Danny break the tie. However, Nicole never intended to do that. She and Danny actually it was Danny's plan for Nicole to flip and to vote to get Ian out so that Danny wouldn't have to break a tie, and then they would frame the flip on David because David was lying a lot about his fake power. I'm sorry, not his fake power. He was lying a lot about his power and faking like he didn't use it on himself, like someone else used it on him. And everyone knew that he used it on himself because no one else would use that power on anyone but themselves. It just didn't make any sense. So everyone was kind of confused by that and knew that he was lying. So therefore he's not trustworthy. He's a pretty solid liar. He had a lot of fake tears. So he's a really convincing liar. So now with this, it was very easy to frame him because now that he's telling the truth, it seems the same as when he was telling the lie. So nobody believes him. Davon immediately assumes that it was David that flipped. Kevin thinks the same thing. No matter how much he defends himself, they kind of just roll their eyes and they don't even really give him any time to explain himself because they're just mad, especially Avon. Kevin did mention on Sunday's episode that it was maybe a 10% chance that actually Nicole flipped and wanted to frame it on David and pin it on David. But he said it was about a 10% chance. When he first was talking about it, I was like, yes, Kevin sees the truth. He's going to know. And it's probably one of the first impressive gameplays that I've seen of him this season. And then he said it was a 10% chance. So I was like, oh, okay, well, he doesn't really get it. But on last night's episode, he was very much more suspicious. He said, yeah, David lied about his power, but that's kind of like a harmless, silly thing to lie about. And if he did do this, if he did flip, it's to put me and Avon in a position to be targeted next week, that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem like something David would do. So Kevin's onto it. He tells Avon. Avon doesn't buy it. She's fully sold on Nicole's lie and completely believes that she is telling her the truth, which is kind of sad and hard to watch. But it's very effective. And I do have to say, even though Danny's kind of being, edited to be kind of this like evil mastermind, she's smart. She's smart and she wants to win. It's not like this is just some people living in a house and she's just lying for the hell of it because she's like a cruel sociopath. No, she's trying to win and she's trying to make good moves to build up her resume and to keep blood off her hands. So she doesn't have to, she already had to put up 4 people. Then if she had to break the tie, she'd really, really, really have a hard time not being a target after that. So it was a really good move. It was a smart play. Nicole didn't really want to do it, but she did, and it worked very, very effectively. So I felt bad for David because he was like, he was actually telling the truth and not believed. He's very calm. He didn't really fight for it. He did have a little bit of an explosion because he was really frustrated that she was mad at him. But he said, this game is going to come to an end. He had really good big picture perspective. He said, the game's going to be over. We're going to get out of the house. We're going to see the show. We're going to see everything that happens here. So he doesn't want to do anything that he's going to regret or be embarrassed about doing on TV. And he knows Avon's going to see the truth. So when she's ready, she'll know. And if he's not going to chase her around and try to convince her, he's just letting her have her space, and he wants to try to talk to her, but it seems like right up until the end, she just did not believe him. She said multiple times, he's been trying to sabotage my game from the beginning. I don't understand. Like, why is he doing this? We're both black, and a black person's never won this game. We should definitely be on the same team. We should, at least one of us should try to get up to that final 2 and win the game. And, why would he be sabotaging me? And he actually wasn't. And I don't know what she was referring to about previous times he tried to sabotage her game, but I don't know, maybe because he was like pretty buddy-buddy with Tyler there for a little while. Doesn't seem like that's necessarily the case now, but maybe. It's possible. It's certainly possible. Hey, Ange, how are you? Much love to you too, Nelson. Thank you, Matthew. Oh, Matthew likes onion. Oh, okay. Jinho, look at you over on YouTube. Good to see you over there. Hi. A little hair out of place. Okay. You like Kevin? That's racist to think like that. A black person has never won Big Brother in the 21 seasons prior to this. So saying it's racist to be black and want to win as a black person to inspire other black people that it is possible to win the game, I don't think that's racist at all. But it's race oriented, but it's like, I don't believe in a world where we just like, we don't acknowledge any differences between us. You know what I mean? Like, there is like a visual difference between someone who's black and someone who's white. And she was saying tonight that when she looks at the season, all 21 winners from the previous 21 seasons, she doesn't see a single black person up there. And she looks at that and she thinks, well, what the fuck's up with that? She's not like, she's kind of like thinking like, well, this game seems a little racist more so, right? Against black people. It's not like she doesn't want a white person to win because she hates white people, right? She's not being anti-white. She just wants to represent for her race, basically, and that's not anything to be ashamed of, being proud of, like, sometimes people want to represent for women. We want to represent for who we identify with. We want to represent for, gay people or something. Like, we want to inspire people. I like to represent for people who used to be suicidal or people who are suicidal right now, because I used to be suicidal, and people don't talk about it enough. And I think it's important for people to know that you can come past that. You can actually get past these feelings of complete rock bottom. I don't have to get into all my identity, but it's not, that's just a part of her identity that she wants to represent for. So Falarski, I don't know who that is. If a white person said something like that. If there was a game show in which 21 seasons had been aired and every single time a black person had won and a white person wanted to win for white people, that would be a completely different world than we live in today. That doesn't exist anywhere. in humanity. So, you know, maybe in Africa, like if you were in the minority, you're a white person, there's not a lot of white people, then yeah, maybe you would. But is it really racist, Matthew? I think you just want some controversy here, and I think maybe you're making something out of it that I don't think that it is, but that's fine. So anyway, then we had the have-nots. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Then there was the HOH competition, the end of the competition. It was a 19-piece 3D fire hydrant puzzle. They had to assemble a 3D puzzle that looked like a fire hydrant when you were complete with it. Oh my God, is that Mark? Thank you for the super hearts, Mark. Sorry, I totally missed those. Thank you for the supports. Help me pay my way through school and help me to keep live streaming. Thank you, Reggie, for the super heart as well. Hi, who's that? I am 7. What's up? Elizabeth Filarski finished 4th in season 2 of Survivor. She's known as Elizabeth Hasselbeck. I'm not familiar with her. I've only watched the last like 2 seasons of Survivor, so 2 or 3. But cool. Okay, so let's go to the have-nots. So Devon and David were have-nots last week. So they have to, Ian was also a have-not, but he got evicted. So there's only 2 have-nots this week. They're picking their replacement have-nots. They can't pick a fellow have-not. And Avon picks Christmas. Christmas has such a bad reaction. Like you can watch my replays from early in this season. I loved Christmas. I loved her energy. She's beautiful. She's like, you know, she's just got a lot of energy. She's very competitive. She's athletic. She looks great. I'm just like, yo, this girl's awesome. I love this chick, but she can be really nasty. And I'm sure I can be too. You know, I try to always leave these disclaimers because it's like, I'm a bit of a critic, right? I'm reviewing the show. I'm saying my opinions of it. And not all my opinions are positive, and I'm not really going to filter out to only say good things because I don't think that's really a real honest review. I'm looking at this girl and go, wow, this girl can be nasty. Remember her fighting with Devon and Bailey last week and just being like, this is my house. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't want to go. Like, it was just so, it seemed a bit immature, petty. And I think she has a lot of trouble sleeping. And if you don't get good sleep, you're not going to have good emotional management. So it could be something that's kind of outside of her control. But it was surprising to me. So I made a note of it. And then it happened again with the have-nots. She's sitting there. It was taco night. Cody had made a bunch of tacos. I think other people helped prepare them too, but he made them like predominantly, and everyone's like starting to eating tacos, and he steps back and he lets everybody, you know, make their plate, and then he's going to eat last because he's kind of letting everyone enjoy their food, and then he's going to enjoy what he made for everybody. But Big Brother, very cruelly, in the middle of that, not in the middle, but like right towards the beginning, right after the food is done and ready and they're about to start to eat it, they decide to switch up the have-nots, which is good for David and Devon because now they can have tacos, but not so good for Christmas. And then David picked Cody, who made the tacos. And he's like, seriously, man? Like, I just cooked all this food and now I can't even eat it. Like, that's kind of fucked up. It's unlucky. It's like bad luck, right? David I don't think he thought about that. Like, he just picked someone who maybe hadn't been a have-not in a while, or someone who just wanted to be a have-not, you know, someone he could handle weakening a little bit, and he didn't handle it well either. He was really mad, but again, he cooked and didn't get to eat. So then Christmas was like, seriously, really? She's like shoving her face. She had already gotten to eat some of it, like maybe like half a taco, and she's like, you can see everyone like trying to eat really fast in case they get picked. And then you know, she's like, wow, really, Devon? You're really going to do that? Are you serious right now? And Devon's like, you put me on the block last week. Like, you sent my best friend home to split up my power duo. What? Are you kidding me right now? And what I don't understand is why Christmas and Cody were behaving as though they were more entitled to not being a have-not than anybody else. You know, they're so mad. Now, I get you're mad because you don't get to eat the tacos that you just made and you thought you were about to eat. But David and Devon weren't about to get to eat those either, and they weren't able to eat anything like that. All they could eat was slop for the last week. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, this is part of the game you signed up for. Sometimes you're going to be a have-not. You can't really, like, be mad at somebody for not picking someone else. Like, what are you going to say, Christmas? That, oh, you should have picked this person. This person deserves cold showers in a shitty bedroom and slop more than me because I am more important and special and more entitled to these luxuries than anyone else here. It was kind of like, dude, and who else was she going to pick? You're the one who put her on the block. You're the one who sent her best friend home. I mean, come on. You know, I thought it was very, very, again, immature and kind of petty. Oh, thank you for those super hearts. Who's that? Colin, what's up? Thank you very much. Oh, I clicked a button. Bradley, thank you for the super hearts too. You know why I'm not seeing them? Because my phone's in kind of like a weird spot. Maybe if I move it over. I don't know. We'll see. I've just arrived and I'm just hearing the petty stuff that's not important. Yeah. It was kind of silly. Wolf Puppy likes this game. The tacos. Taco night. All right, Pulse, good luck on your games. I know you're going to kill it. And even if you don't, who cares? How can you not love Christmas? Well, the season's a little bit different. I'll comment on that when we get to the Zingbot episode, but that was Wednesday night's episode. So let me finish Sundays. I'm sorry, it was Tuesday nights this week. But anyway, so Memphis calls David into his office, the HOH room, and he says, I want to talk to you. You want a seat at the table? I have a deal for you. And he's very like mafia boss. And honestly, like, I know it's super annoying, but at the same time, it's very entertaining to watch. And I actually kind of liked Memphis in this role of like, just like really being like, I'm the boss, you know, like just very like old school kind of with it. So I liked it, even though I'm sure everyone can't stand this guy. I know everyone can't stand this guy, which I have a lot to say about on last night's episode, but let me get there. So he says to David, if you promise me that you will not compete in the veto competition, that if you get chosen that you'll throw it and you will not compete, then I will make sure that you stay off of the block this week. So I'm not going to nominate you or backdoor you. However, that's the shittiest deal of all time. David did it exactly right. He handled it perfectly, which I'm glad to see David really being smart, you know, because in the beginning everyone's like, he's an amateur, doesn't know what he's doing, and it was hard to say if this was going to go his way. Obviously, it's not going to go his way because he has no alliances, right? He's playing his own game. He's on his own. The fact he's made it this long is like, actually, it's an interesting strategy. Well, I'll talk about that a little bit with him being an island and all that. But that was his deal. It was dumb because he didn't offer David anything for after this week, which means that there was no reason that David shouldn't compete in the veto competition because, all right, he's not going to nominate you if you agree to this. So agree to it because he's not going to nominate you and that's what you want. Now his plan, Memphis's plan, was to backdoor David, which is why he didn't want him to compete in the veto because he said literally anyone else can win the veto and then take somebody down and I'll put David up. So if David did get picked for veto, it was in his best interest to fight for it, even not knowing the plan, because then he could keep himself safe. It was the only true way, 100% guaranteed way to keep yourself off the block is to win the veto. So the deal wasn't a deal at all. He basically just told him, I'm not going to nominate you. Please don't compete in the veto so I can backdoor you. He didn't say that, but that's what he meant, and David was on to it. So David said, oh yeah, sure, yeah, definitely. And then said to the cameras, oh, I'm going to fight my ass off to win that veto competition because it's the only way I know that I'm safe for sure. Because Memphis has been after him since week 1. And that's not a great, you know, he doesn't trust him, and that's smart. So I was glad to see that. Then he puts up Kevin and Avon as the nominees and plans to backdoor David. Zingbot comes the next episode. So episode 21. I'm good, Colin. How are you? Now you want tacos? Me too, actually. So Kevin's like going on about how this is his 4th time on the block this season. He's like, if anyone needs any information or education about how to be on the block, I'm an expert, I'm a professional, and I can help you. You know, he's like kind of fucking around. He's like, I've been on the block 4 times now. 4 times. He's like, I made it off 3 times without getting voted off. Let's see if I can do it a 4th. I thought it was interesting that Memphis refused to tell anyone his noms or his plan for the backdoor or anything beforehand. He wouldn't tell anyone what his noms were. Then he put up Kevin and Avon. The committee was relieved. It's nobody within the committee. But he's smart to not tell anyone that, but he did end up, I think, sharing a little too much information a little bit later on, which was lame. He's hyper masculine. I think he's a really fun character. He did have Ian convinced that he was running a lone wolf strategy, that he was kind of on his own, similar to David. And that is not the case. He's actually the creator of the committee. You want him to win? Memphis? Hey, Delcio, how are you? I would say there is a 0% chance that Memphis wins Big Brother. I don't see it. I don't see Davon and Ian casting their votes. I guess maybe Ian, but I would say okay, so it's like okay, what percent chance? How many people are left in the house now? 7? What she went, okay, so it's like a 5-2, so that was 7, and then 8, 9. So there's 9 people left. So I would say he has an 11% chance of winning, which is a pretty low percentage because I think he could win against Kevin. Otherwise, I don't think he could win. I don't think Memphis could sit next to anyone but Kevin and actually win in the end. So, and I don't think he's going to take Kevin to final 2. So we'll see about all that. Anyway, Davon and Kevin hope that the plan is to backdoor David, and it was, so that was good. So they decided they're definitely not going to pick him for house guest choice and hope that he gets backdoored. So Davon says, if I get house guest choice, I'll pick Nicole. Kevin said, if I get house guest choice, I'll pick Danny. Actually, Davon made that plan for both of them. She said, I'll pick Nicole, you pick Danny, if either of us gets house guest choice. They both get house guest choice in the veto, and they pick Danny and Nicole, which surprised everyone because everyone expected at least one of them to pick David because David's kind of like on their crew. So they were confused why they didn't pick David, and they were extra confused why they picked Danny and Nicole. So Tyler's kind of watching this and going, I've had some suspicions that Danny and Nicole might have some side deal, kind of like a side alliance with Kevin and Davon. So this just confirmed that for him and made him really concerned. So Memphis is excited about this. He's like, okay, this is exactly how everything went according to plan. David's not competing in the veto, so there's really no risk here. Everybody just throw the competition, let Kevin or Davon win or me win, and then we'll take one person down and backdoor David. And Nicole doesn't really like that. Nicole hasn't won anything yet this season, so she's like, to Danny, she's like, I'm not throwing it. I'm going to try to win because I haven't won anything yet. And Danny doesn't really seem to care. Danny doesn't really want a lot of power or attention on her, so she's like okay with throwing it, but I don't think that she did. It didn't seem like she was throwing it. Memphis obviously wanted to win. This is where, and then Tyler was like, wait a second, he wants to backdoor David? He's like, that's a stupid plan. Davon and Kevin are a powerful duo. David is an island. And that's really smart. David's on his own. He has no one. He has no lifeline. So he's a much smaller threat than Kevin and Davon, who seem to be having this side alliance now with Nicole and Danny, who are members of the committee. And that's 4 people. And like I said, there's 9 left. We're getting down to it. That's going to start to be a real threat. If they can swing one more person, maybe Christmas, away from these guys, these macho guys like Memphis and Cody and Enzo and Tyler, then they're screwed. So they're like, we need to nip that in the bud and get that out of here because they have a better chance pulling David in with the guys than probably like Danny and Nicole would have with him, because Tyler and David are pretty tight as well. So Tyler's like, I'm going for it. Nobody's throwing this thing, which is hilarious because, then Memphis makes, I think, what was a mistake. He goes and he tells Kevin and Davon his plan, because Memphis has this, like, he seems to think everyone's going to do what he wants, but that's not the case. As soon as he leaves the room, everyone's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me to throw a comp. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to play my own game. You can't tell me what to do. People are just, like, so annoyed with him, even people in his own alliance. So, hi, everybody. So, he's just very direct, and he thinks, so he tells Kevin and Davon the plan, and they're kind of like, I don't believe you. I'm not throwing it. I'm gonna compete, and because same thing for them, they're already on the block. It's the only way to guarantee their safety is to win the veto. So nobody's throwing this thing, which is hilarious to me. Yet Davon still had the slowest time. But before the competition, we had Zingbot roll out. So instead of being the normal Zingbot, instead it is the Tiger Zing, like Tiger King. They have him dressed like Joe Exotic. Davon says something so funny. She says something like, Zingbot looks a little different. He doesn't look like your average Joe. He looks a little exotic. I was like, yes, because she said Joe and exotic. It was perfect. It was very well delivered. Hello. So I loved that. I loved the little like spin on the Tiger Zing thing. And here are all the zings. I wrote them all down. So Zingbot is the thing that comes out and roasts all the members on the show. And they kind of like criticize and insult the people on the show. So they start with David, and he goes, you know, I'm really surprised that I'm back here in the Big Brother house, but I'm even more surprised, you know, or he said like, I'm really surprised. Oh, he said, I'm surprised to see all of you here in an all-star season, but I'm most surprised to see David. And Memphis is like, yes, me and Zingbot agree on this one. He criticizes Enzo for being called the Meow Meow in his 40s. He's like, what 40-something-year-old guy calls himself the Meow Meow? What's more pathetic than that? So Enzo says, you know what? You're right, Zingbot. I don't like being called Meow Meow. Nobody call me Meow Meow anymore. I don't like that name. Call me by my full government name, Vincenzo. He is so funny and so fun, which is why I think... I'll just tell you. So, like, I'm very surprised that Memphis thinks that he could beat Enzo in a final two, because Enzo's really funny. Like, he's really good for morale around the house. He has a very calm energy. He's a very confident energy. He's funny. Like, he's a pretty cool kind of energy. I think people actually pretty much like Enzo. And one thing I've been complimenting Enzo on since the beginning is that he doesn't really make deals that he doesn't honor. So he doesn't tell someone, oh, yeah, I got you, no problem, and then go and stab him in the back. No, he plays it pretty straight up. You know, he says, like, I don't know, man, I can't make any promises. You better go win that veto. You know what I mean? He's like, I don't want you to feel too comfortable. Like, I don't know. Things can always, you just never know how things are going to go. I don't want to make any promises I end up not being able to keep. So, you know, you fight for yourself. I love that. I love to see that people aren't just like, oh, yeah, like the Tyler strategy, which is like, yeah, I'm just super close friends with everyone. And I totally am going to, like, you know, put myself on the block in your place and then be like, oh, no, actually, I totally couldn't pull that off at all and never really probably intended to. So, yay. Okay. He says something about Memphis being a giant shit. Something about how he looks like a giant piece of crap or something like that. He says Cody has an extremely low IQ, which I find a little surprising because I actually find Cody to be pretty impressive. And I don't really feel that way about people too often, but I feel like he's very good at this game, both socially and strategically, and competitively. So I think he's kind of like the total, like he's like a triple threat and he's a total package, and that he stands a pretty good chance of winning if he makes it far enough in the game. So I don't know if IQ has anything to do with it. Nicole made a comment. She said, you know, Cody, sometimes his vocabulary gets a little mixed up, which is normal for men. Actually, I'm studying the difference between male and female brains right now, and women have a better command of the language than men. Men have a little bit harder time with verbal communication and verbalizing things than women do, which is why women probably talk more. Hey, Sarah, how are you? When do you go to bed, Sarah? Because I want to play Among Us with you if we get a chance tonight. So, she told him that she's a pescatarian, and he thought it was a religion. Now, I have to vouch for him on this because pescatarian is somebody who only eats fish, but a Presbyterian is a Christian, it's a sect of Christianity. So pescatarian, Presbyterian, those things sound almost exactly the same. Like, those words are so similar that it's kind of cute that he messed it up, but it's like, it's totally understandable how that could happen as well. So I don't know. I think they took a little bit of a dig at him there too. Okay. All right. Awesome. This one was way too much. He said that Danny looks old. He was like, you guys all look like a bunch of old pros this season, except you, Danny. You just look old. I wrote, what the fuck, Zingbot? No. Do not say that. That was way too much. Way too much. It was like, oh, it hurt my heart. He said, okay, I'm going to give you a clue, and you have to tell me whether I'm talking about Christmas the person or the holiday season. He said, one is cold, stress-inducing, and annoying, and the other is the holiday season. Cold, stress-inducing, and annoying. And then it cuts to Avon being like, this girl needs to be named Halloween. Which goes to what I was saying. Like, she has a little bit of a nasty side to her for sure. And she was mad. She goes, you know, Tyler's going, Zingbot, we have to live with Christmas after here. Shut the hell up. And then Christmas is like, I'm going to make you all pay for that. You're all going to pay for that this week. And it's just like, whoa, she's definitely got like a crazy side to her, you know, like just a little bit like intense. He said Kevin is boring, which wasn't too bad, you know. Kevin was like, oh, that's not too bad. I'll take it. He said that Tyler lied about preferring his girl and love to the $500,000. And then the one that I thought was the funniest was Nicole's, which was the last one. And he said, because Nicole's about to get married. So he said something like this. I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was like, here comes the bride. She whines and cries. When she speaks, it makes me want to die. Or something like that. Or he says like, her voice makes me want to fucking die. I was like, oh my gosh. She goes, that was so much worse than I ever could have imagined. But it is kind of true. Like, her voice is very nasally and kind of whiny. I think mine is too. We're small, so our vocal cords are short, so our voices are kind of high-pitched. And we're, like, feminine, and we kind of, you know, I try right now. I'm, like, thinking about, okay, keep my voice at a lower range that's a little bit more audibly satisfying than my normal voice, which is naturally more high-pitched. So she was like, you know, do you really want me? Let me try to do it how she was saying. Like, I don't even understand. Do you guys just want me to talk, like, monotone like this? Like, just so boring and, like, just don't even have inflections in my voice? Like, this doesn't sound whiny. And then she goes, okay, wait, that did sound kind of whiny. And I was like, yeah, she can't even speak in a monotone voice. It's so funny. I thought that was really funny. And then Cody goes, oh, no. And he hugs Nicole, and he goes, oh, my God. He's like, no, too much, too much. And then he looks up at the camera, and he goes... So that was really funny, really, really funny. So then they go into the veto competition, which is related to Tiger Zing and Tiger King. Hey, Peyton, I'm good. How are you? Thanks, Berto, I guess. Zingbot is very mean, yeah. Thursday's episode, yeah, I'm going to talk about that one next. We're almost there. So they do the veto competition. What they have to do, it's a maze. It's like a hedge maze, and you have to go through the hedges, and you have to find 3 alien tigers and put them in the correct cages. You can't carry more than 1 tiger at a time, it looked like. So they kind of show everyone running through it. So what I thought was interesting is that Danny was shoving them in. They're like stuffed animals. She was shoving them in over the tops of the cage doors. She wasn't actually opening the cage doors, which made it go so much faster. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, I know everyone seemed like they didn't really throw it, but Nicole, at one point, she threw one in and closed the cage door, and she goes, oh, that was kind of mean. And she opens it back up, and she makes them look all nice and comfortable, and then puts them back in. I was like, good job, and then walks away. So I feel like she was kind of throwing it a little bit. I don't think she really, like, here's the thing, you know, Nicole and Danny were both saying to each other, they're like, we have 2 choices. Like, we can throw the competition, or if we win, we have to take Avon down. So, and that's showing their hand to the committee a little bit. So I think it was best for those 2 to throw it. So maybe they threw it a little bit, but they still did better than Avon, unfortunately, which was kind of sad because Avon really did want to win, but she just was moving too slow, I guess. I was wondering why no one else did that, shoving them over the top of the cages. I thought maybe it was a rule where you had to actually open the door and close it, but apparently not. And then Tyler won, which I think was his first win of the season, and the worst person to win in Memphis's case, besides David, because he's like the only, him and Cody were the only ones that were sitting there going, listen, David's way less of a threat than than Kevin and Avon. So we got to keep noms the same. We got to fight for it. So he wins, and he explains to Memphis, and Memphis understands. So at first he's going, this is a big red flag. I don't understand. You don't want to backdoor David. That makes me think maybe you're working with David. And Tyler's like, listen, man, I don't have any deal with David. I just know that David has no one. He's like, listen, Kevin and Avon both picked Danny and Nicole. They didn't pick David. David has no one now. He's literally like just on his own. So he's no threat. Like, we can pick him off pretty much any time. Now, Tyler is also thinking I could also potentially pull David for a number in my favor because him and David have a good working relationship this season. So he's like, let's break up the duo. And of course, Tyler wants Avon out particularly badly because she is, coming for him. and he doesn't feel like Kevin is, so he wants to make sure Davon goes. And Memphis seems to want to target Davon too. At first he was kind of hyped, and then he realized, he kind of listened. He's like, oh, you're right. Oh, because he said, listen, Kevin and Davon don't have a deal with anybody. And Tyler says they might with Danny and Nicole, and like Memphis is like, oh, yeah. That didn't even occur to him, because he just wanted David out so badly, because he's been trying to get David out from the beginning, and he knows that David may very well come for him. So he wants to get him out as soon as possible, which is smart, but doesn't seem to be happening, because Tyler did indeed keep the noms the same. It doesn't seem like anyone really wants to target Kevin. So Kevin, and I said this right in the beginning, Kevin might make it kind of far in this game because nobody really sees him as a threat. Probably nobody's going to vote for him. So he's kind of just disposable, which he is sad, and he feels that, and he realizes everyone thinks that of him, but he even looks like someone who's not really doing much. Like his body language and his posture, he's just always just trying to make himself smaller, very insecure, not confident, open up, be like, I'm here, I deserve this spot, I'm an all-star, and I should be here, so I don't know, I felt kind of bad for him for sure. Thank you, ILHN. What's up? Hey, Wesley, what's going on? Okay, so then we get to last night's episode. So this is the final episode, episode 22. This is the most recent episode. And Davon is indeed the target because of the potential side deals with Danny and Nicole. And what I realized as watching this is that Danny and Nicole are pretty much, they're another power duo that can definitely easily be targeted by the committee. So they got to watch out. And they're kind of at the bottom because now all the guys are kind of teaming up. So it's Memphis, Enzo, Tyler, and Cody. And then it's Danny and Nicole. So Danny and Nicole are in the vast minority in terms of gender there, and just in terms of what they want and what the guys want. So they're at the bottom of the totem pole, and that's going to be really hard for them to kind of navigate moving forward as we get closer to the final six. Then we see an interesting kind of emotional sharing from Davon, where she says, in my previous season, so she was in season, I think 18, or was it 17 and 18? I think 17 and 18. That when she played those seasons, she was very vocal, and she stood up to bullies, and she told people what they thought. And she got a lot of positive feedback from people on social media saying, you really inspired me to find my own voice, to stand up to people, to tell people what I really think. And I just appreciate you so much for helping me to find my voice. And she's like, how could I go from being that person to this season muzzling my own voice and not being the person everyone wants me to be, to keep inspiring people? Now I'm showing that, just don't say what you really think, and don't say anything, and try try not to make any waves. And she felt really bad and guilty about that. But I was sitting there thinking, that's nothing to be ashamed of. You didn't win season 17 or season 18. You've never won any of these games, because she's played other games too, like the challenge and stuff like that. She's never won. So of course it's smart to try a different strategy. That's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You don't have to say everything that you think. You don't always have to stand up to everyone when you're in a game where you're trying to beat them. You don't want to make a target on yourself. So you tried a different strategy. Didn't work, this season either, but it was still good to try something different. So I think that was good. I think it was smart, and I hope that other people feel that same way. Davon, you did nothing wrong, All you did was try something different to see if it would get you further. And I don't think, has she ever made it to jury before on Big Brother? I'm not sure, but she made it pretty far in the game. I would say she made it at least to jury. So does anyone know if she made it to jury before? Let me check that. Let me look it up. In Big Brother 17, she was evicted the second week. Oh, okay. So in season 18, she became the first member of the jury. So she did make it to jury before. She made it a little bit further this time. So this strategy was a little more effective. I don't think she has anything to be ashamed about. Thank you, David. I'm glad I Periscope too, so I can see you guys every single day. If you guys don't know, I don't even think I said my intro. Welcome to the Daily Juice. I'm Taylor. I go live every single day, 7 days a week, so you can check me out here on Periscope. On YouTube, I go live at least once a week, and I go live on Twitch every day as well. Same username everywhere, NEXJUICE. That's my website if you want to support this channel financially and help me to keep it going and also help pay my way through school. I am a psychology student studying to become a clinical mental health counselor, so I can help people, as I mentioned earlier, who might be feeling suicidal, depressed, anxious, and other mental health challenges. Okay, so Kevin, tonight, I mentioned this earlier, but he was right. Like he said, I'm thinking more and more about it. It just doesn't seem like David would have flipped. It didn't make sense why he would do that. I believe that it was Nicole. And he talks to Avon about it and she won't buy it. And she talks to Nicole and Nicole lies again and she just believes her. And it was hard to watch that for both. Because Nicole does feel really bad lying, but what other choice does she have? So that's hard. Memphis comes up with an idea that I do not understand at all, and maybe you guys can give me some insight into it, but he wants to make 2 final 3 deals that include himself and Enzo. He wants Enzo to be his final 2 because he thinks he can beat Enzo in the end. Why he thinks he can beat Enzo? Enzo has won HOH, he's won Veto, and he's won, what did he win? Safety Suite? He won something else. I think a safety suite. He won at least 3 challenges. And it's like he's won one of every type of challenge they've thrown out. So he's got that on his resume. He hasn't lied to anyone that I've seen. I haven't seen him make any mistakes. And people actually seem to like him. They're laughing. It seems like I like him. I don't like a lot of people. He seems to be doing quite well. Memphis is generally unliked. People don't really like him. Whether you're sitting on your couch at home watching or you're there in the house with him, he doesn't seem like a very easy guy to get along with, to live with, or to kind of get on with. He's a little bit older too, so there's a generational change between them. He's a little bit less sensitive. Like I said, he's hyper masculine, and I don't know that really gets you a lot of votes, but I guess we'll find out. At this point, he has David in the jury house. Davon's now in the jury house after tonight or last night. He's planning on having Kevin there, Cody, these people, Tyler, they don't like him, it's just ugh. Okay, so he approaches Enzo with this deal. I see Enzo looking hesitant. Enzo's kind of yeah, okay. And he does go along with it, even though he has his final 2 deal with Cody, I think. He's I think he realizes he stands a better chance of beating Memphis. And he does say that. He says, I think I actually could beat this guy. So if he wants to work with me, fine. If he wants to take me to final 2, fine, because I can win. And I think he's right about that. My keyboard is nasty. Where all these crumbs come from? I gotta stop eating at my desk, man. Sorry, I just got distracted by crumbs. That's my bad. Let me put this back under here. Are we still live? Can you guys still hear me? All right. So he decides to make the one final 2 deal with Cody. So it's Memphis, Enzo, and Cody. And he says to Enzo ahead of time, we're going to make 2 final 3 deals with 2 different people, and they're both alliances are going to have the same name. Why? And so he has it with Cody, and the name of these 2 alliances is The Wise Guys, which is a good name for any kind of alliance that has Cody and Enzo in it, because they're New Jersey guys. They're kind of like the wise guys, it's a good name. And Memphis, sure. Memphis perceives himself that way, of a leader of a wise guys. But the second final 3 is Memphis, Enzo, and Christmas, which is fine. Now, why Memphis thinks he could beat Christmas, I'm not totally sure. Maybe because Avon is in the jury house. I'm not really sure that Christmas has burned anybody else. Tyler seemed a little bit wary of Christmas. I don't know. I guess Christmas hasn't made a ton of moves, but I don't know. She did win HOH, and I've liked her. She seemed to be pretty well liked. Her and Enzo get along well. I don't know. It was kind of weird. I thought Tyler would be a better person for that because Tyler's made a lot of mistakes. So I don't know that people are going to vote for Tyler. I think Memphis might even stand a chance against Tyler because Tyler's really kind of messed up a lot this season. But I don't know what he's thinking. He's seeing something different. I don't watch the live feed, so I only see the produced, edited content on TV, so I'm sure that I'm missing a lot, actually. Enzo's Zingbot insult was really funny. Yeah, it was. So tell me why you name a Final 3 deal with a woman in it the Wise Guys, because he's like, oh, let's call it the Wise Guys, you know, and Enzo's like, yeah, and then Christmas is like, I'm not a guy, and he's like, well, it's like a term, like, it's like, you know, like tough guys, like, it's like, you know, and she's just like, okay, weird, you know, but she goes along with it. She's like, whatever, you know what I mean? More alliances, the better. So that's fine. Why he thinks he can beat Enzo, still don't know. Christmas, I don't know, guys. I don't know what they're seeing. It's different than what I'm seeing. But. So Christmas sees an opportunity here. Danny goes to Christmas and tries to campaign for Avon to stay. And Christmas is like, this is too weird. Nicole and Danny definitely have some kind of side deal with Avon, maybe with Kevin. We need to nip this in the bud. So she goes to Memphis. She says, hey, I want to run this past you before I do this, but here's what I think we should do. She's like, I think we should use David to take shots at Danny and Nicole so we don't have to. We can guarantee him safety for the next 2 weeks, take him to the final 8, you know, as long as they have power, and then get him out then. Let him take some shots and then get rid of him later on in the game. So we can use him to get members of the committee out because we're going to need numbers. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me because I feel like they already have the numbers to get those girls out. And David's definitely going to want to go for Memphis. I would assume more than Danny and Nicole, except if he knew that Danny and Nicole framed him for being the flip vote, which they did. And Christmas says, I'm going to go tell him. And she tells David that she knows how he voted and that she knows that that he, Kevin, and Avon voted to keep Ian and that Nicole did not. And Nicole framed him. So he's like, screw that. I want to go after Danny and Nicole. This is ridiculous. So she says, you're good with me. I'm not coming after you. You're safe with me. And that she wants to take him to the final 8 and so that he'll target the girls and not her in Memphis, and that her in Memphis will keep their hands clean. So we'll see. David is not one that seems to be very puppetable, that he's going to just like go along with whatever, but he's like, sure, yeah, he's happy to have the information. It's like the first time anyone's come to him with any information all season, and he was happy about that. At the end, when it came down to the vote, Nicole and Danny actually voted to evict Kevin, which I was really surprised by because Christmas had said to them, she had said to Danny, like, we should really all get on the same page. And I think maybe Danny and Nicole just wanted to hopefully get a jury vote from Avon, but they really showed their hand. Like, they showed that they were not with the committee. They're not voting with the committee, and that they're kind of rogue and they're a pair. And I just think that's really, really bad for them. Nicole's a previous winner, so she's an obvious target. And Danny had to put up 4 noms, and really, like, she had to do a lot of, like, manipulation and masterminding, and she's definitely been going around planting the seeds. Enzo calls her the gardener. So I'm not so sure these girls are going to make it much farther this game. And it's looking like it's almost guaranteed to be a male winner this season. Then at the end, they revealed that season 2 winner, Dr. Will, moved into the neighbor's house next door, and that they'll be seeing him throughout the next, I think they said neighbor week was like 1 week long. So I don't know if he like just does weird things throughout the day and night. I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. But he does tell them that at the next HOH and veto competitions, they'll have to choose between power or prizes. So I'm not exactly sure what that means, but we're going to find out on Sunday night's episode. So I do these recaps on Thursday nights. I know it's Friday now. I did do a 12-hour stream yesterday, so I couldn't stream my recap because I couldn't watch the show because I was live. So I did it tonight on Friday. But next week it'll be on Thursday night again, and it's always on Thursday nights. I summarized the previous 3 episodes. Next Thursday is a 2-hour episode where there's a triple eviction. 3 people will be sent home next week. I have no idea how it's going to go. My mind is like 3. I mean, so it's a 2-hour special, 3 evictions. And that means that because I'll have to watch it, I think I think we're going to have the kids that night, so we have to put them to bed, then watch 2-hour episode of Big Brother, and then go live. So I might be live a little bit late on Thursday, but I will be here. So please subscribe here to the YouTube channel and follow me here on the Periscope channels. I'm live on both right now. I do this every week, and I go live on Periscope every single day with lots of other content as well. So stay tuned. Thank you to everyone who's already followed or subscribed. Thank you for all the super hearts and support on the website, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, Reggie, Matt, Maddox, Colin, and Mark for the super hearts. Love you guys. Thanks for the support on the website, nextjuice.com, helping me pay my way through school. And I hope to see you on Twitch tonight as we test out the Among Us, aka the Amidst Us, Fortnite creative map. This has been a moment in time with Taylor. Please remember to be savage and not average. See you on the next juice. Hi, Duo. Didn't see you down there. Hi, Michael. Hey, Rody. Good night, guys. See you on Twitch. I'll be live on Twitch in a little while. Bye.